Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got the Z, which is a good scoring tile. And the opponent plays quite a blocky play. Only an H goes under a C, or next to a C, and Sig only takes an S. I have big A's on my rack, but nowhere to play that and burning the G. So only an A can go in front of the G. Do I have a play in row G? Well, I am looking to play off some of these E's. I'm just wondering about playing big A's and retaining the G, partly for vowel consonant balance. Big A's takes a D and an S, so there is scoring potential there. But 20 points is an okay score. I'm going with this. Am I missing something? So easy to make a suboptimal play at the beginning of the game because you're keen to get on. I'm going with this. Another 3 E's. Sometimes you can go most of the game without seeing one. Not very often, but when it does happen, it's irksome. And no scoring tiles. And no hooks for big A's. However, a nice score for opponent. What I can do is play a gone. 26 points, quite a decent score. And I am sorting the rack out to some extent. And duplicate E's, not a massive problem really. Anything better than a gone. I don't think so. This looks a little more promising. I would have a choice of bingos through an L. So where are the floating consonants? What about the G of a gone? Wow, I thought that was a bingo coming down for a moment. But I just note that it's actually a pretty useful spot for my M. And opponent provides one more floating consonant. Not sure how useful that is, but let me go back to the G. Do I have any ing words? No. Well, not bingos. I have iteming. The Q, not useful for a bingo. What about the C? Possibly Simonite, beginning with the C, but that doesn't play. What about a play ending IC? No, not seeing anything. So how about the T? No, not seeing anything. So coming back to the bottom right, I have I mine. Good score and decent rack leave. Fantastic. A retain rack. Retain is one of the best 6-letter sets in Scrabble, if not the best. And it makes a bingo with most other tiles. And opponents put a damper on proceedings by bingoing ahead of me for 84 points. Very nice spot. So, what do I have? And in particular, do I have a play in column 15 or row O ending in E? And as it's a retain rack, I would hope to find it. So this rack plus an E. Well, I feel there ought to be one here. It hasn't come to mind quite yet. Sometimes when you're trying too hard, it makes it harder. So what if it began with each letter in turn? I've got the inter prefix. I feel this. Oh, tree nail, elaterin, entailor. And none of those works. Okay, and I'm pretty sure those are the only three. So let me find a bingo which works. Well, I certainly have relating in row L. I can't extend that, so relating as it stands opens up column 1, which isn't great. I don't have any hooks for bow. I don't have a play ending in I. Well, how disappointing. I thought I would have something which would at least get doubled. How about this U? Antler, retinular, tenurial. Well, I think that's the play, tenurial. It doesn't take an S. Column 8's slightly dangerous, but not bingo-y dangerous. And the play does get doubled. Am I missing any lanes that I haven't considered? I don't think so. Tenurial for 70. Wow, what a pickup. Fantastic. I draw the first blank, and the rest of the rack is pretty bingo-y, even though the W isn't a bingo-y tile. In the context of this rack, it is, because I have Wagoner, which plays in row D, and I have Gowand in the same spot, and I think I have Wagon Idge. Well, that would require an A or a G. I thought for a moment that would go on to the E of I mine. So let me have a look to see if I've got anything ending in E. So nothing with the A. I'm imagining this rack plus an E. Okay, 33 points. That's pretty average, but the opponent has taken my spot. But provided, let me just take this back, because anything ending in E is going to score the same as anything ending in S. And I can see straight away that I have Wagoners. So, to what extent should I look further? What would be better would be if I could get the W doubled. That would be significantly more. So I'm going to start again, and I'm looking pretty much for 7s, since the S is likely to just pluralize a 7. 13 minutes on my clock. That's wagoned. Let me get these back in order. So I'm looking for a 7. Not seeing anything so far. Still nothing. I've got the non-prefix, non-wages. I think non-wage is good, but it doesn't take an S. That's wagoners. Nothing there. I think wantages may be good, but I have the O, not the A. No. So, wagoners it is. For 86. Bang! And wow, look at this. I draw the second blank with a pretty good rack. I have Bunhead with a B, Unheads with an S. Not sure there's anywhere for them. I don't think Stay takes an S, so row E not an S lane. Otherwise, Unheads would play. And it is good. So I do have Unheads in row E. 38 for opponent. Still scoring consistently. My lead just 20 points. So, do I have a play beginning with W? I don't think I do. So, the next matter to consider, given there are no double lanes, is do I have a play in column 15 ending in E or row O ending in E? That's unlikely. So at the moment I have unheads in row E. That takes a B, and there's one to come. So should I be looking for an 8-letter play ending in E? And the deciding factor is, what's my view on the likelihood of finding one? Is it time well spent? Well, let me just consider the prefix UN, because with the U, that's the most likely prefix. So UN, and then this rack plus an E. Well, I'm not seeing. I am going to look because I have the time. So this rack plus an E. Not seen anything yet, and I think if there is one, it probably doesn't begin UN. So that would be haunched through a C, possibly. Might not be good. This rack plus an E. Still not seen anything. So what about the R? That looks a useful tile with this rack. That gives me the under prefix. Close to sunshade. That's unheads. Haunted. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything ending in E, but I wasn't really expecting to. So do I play unheads? Slightly worried about that B front hook. Opponent could get 40 or 50 points very easily, and my lead at the moment is pretty tiny. What about a play beginning with G? Well, I could play Gaunched, I think, for 76, and that doesn't look too dangerous. Well, an unbalanced rack, but I do have the X, and look at this spot underneath the E. There's a triple letter square which I can get to score twice. Do I have a 5-letter play ending in X? Just 30 points for opponent. He's slowing down. So something AX. That would be pretty funky, but I'm not seeing such a play. Do I have just a longer play than just AX? I'm leaving myself with 5 consonants. No, I don't. So that's about 50 points. Is there a better spot? Maybe a lower score, but a much better rack leave. So what does Wax score here? 38. I don't think that's... Well, is that enough? I don't think so, because of the ease with which opponent can score. Otherwise, I would consider it. Really hampered by only having one vowel. Otherwise, something like ADAX would be a possibility. Docs is good. What about a play getting the X tripled in column 14? Not seeing anything. Well, what about this? Just playing Wax here, 45 points and a decent rack leave. Let me check the remaining vowels. 10 out of 26. Yeah, so vowels are scarce. This has got to be a better play. Is there an even better one? I don't think so. Great, that looks jolly close to a bingo. I have Encradle in column 15. beginning, and that stays available. Fantastic. And look at opponent, he had a V, a U and two O's. He's suffering massively. Superb. So I have Encradle for 86. Bang! And another good pick. Balanced rack. Very balanced rack given how Val dry the bag was. And I've got a good scoring tile in the J. And from a lead of just 20 points, I now have a lead of 160 points. So I'm heading towards victory. Just 6 tiles in the bag. Remaining tiles, quite bingo-y, but I don't think one bingo is going to be enough for my opponent. So what can I do with my J? Great, just 26 points. So I'm looking at this O of a gone. Just wondering if I've got a J-I play, and I don't. I do have a, wow, if I had an A, I would have had Agi, and I thought for a moment I did, but I don't. It would be nice to get rid of the F and the J in one go, but look at this, only 3 tiles left. They're pretty bingo-y tiles, so I do want to leave one in the bag, and that means it may be impossible to play off the F and the J. So, where's best for just the J or just the F? Tricky. There's nowhere obvious. I could play the F up here, but I'd rather hang on to the F, so I've got the option of getting that to score twice. Well, I could do that. I could play Fet now and score with the J next turn. Or I could do this. Jet to restrict my opponent's opportunities of bingoing. He is surely going to bingo with this rack. Well, and I'm just thinking if he is, should I be taking out row O as the best lane? Tricky. 5 minutes on my clock. Jet is only 21 points. This is quite a nice 5-letter set. But the only bingo lanes are row O, row L, and that's it. I'm not going to bingo with the F through the V. Let me just take this back. So I'm looking to play off 2 tiles. I'm worried about row O, not because it will cost me the game, but it's my opponent's best bingo lane. He doesn't have an N for an ING play, so this G isn't useful for him. So, what can I do down here? Just the F for 10 points. It's a shame GIF isn't good, because I'd rather leave 1 in the bag than 2. 4 minutes on my clock. Quite a crucial moment, because although I think the game is won, I could throw away a lot of points with a suboptimal play. I quite like this play, because this rack leave is quite good. I've got Joe or Jot in column 14 for about 30 points. I'm stopping my opponent from bingoing. Is he really going to be bingoing in row O? I'm only getting 10 points. So what to do? What to do? 2 minutes on my clock, 3 tiles in the bag. Am I needlessly worrying about row O? Opponent could have 2 S's, in which case he probably doesn't have a bingo in row O. I'm going to play Fet, and then I've got Jot next turn. Fet for 29 is a big score. I'm going with this. Well, opponent doesn't have 2 S's, so there could be a row. Okay, great. Well, great in the sense that I didn't play Fe. T is in the bag. Spoliate takes a D and an S, but I'm certainly looking to play off my S. And I don't have a big J play in column 1, as in a play beginning with the J next to the A. So that's a pretty rubbish pickup, actually. 1 minute on my clock. Opponent's got just a T, so he certainly will be going out. So, yeah, I probably should have found somewhere where I retained my vowel last turn. So I can play jousts for 26. Can I do better than that? 1 minute on my clock. I don't think so. Jousts for 26. And opponent just got the T, so plenty of places for him to play that. And the final score, 391 for my opponent, 503 for me, a winning margin of 112 points. So a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, that game really took off halfway through. So it was my opponent to go first, and he played Sig, and F9 begaze. That was my play, and that looks fine. Opponent's rack, nice play, 44 points. Now I play a Gone. I could have played a Gene, keeping EO. That would have been a fractionally better rack leave, EO compared to EE. But add G, E11. Yeah, 24 points. Probably slightly better. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Invite. And now I have I Mine for 39. And now this was a fantastic bingo by opponent, Halidom, but he could have put an E on the end in column 15 and played Halidome for a further 15 points. Now I trail by 70, but I have this rack. And I didn't like the plays ending in G because they opened up column 1. So I went with Tenurial, and I still like that. Opponent's rack, plays Stay, and this is a fantastic pick, and I have Wagoners for 86. Opponent's rack, plays Dory for 38, and this is what I meant by the game really taking off halfway through. In a way, it's already taken off in that it's been a high-scoring game. But look at the scores, just 20 points between us. And I think it's with 30 tiles in the bag, it's from this point on that I start to pull ahead. So this is my rack. I'm fortunate enough to have drawn the second blank. A14. Unlashed. Yeah, quite nice for 88. And I played Gaunched for 12 fewer points, but Unlashed allows opponent to get a big score with a parallel column 15 play, so I actually still like my play. Horrible rack for opponent, F, U and V. Plays Frey, And this was a rack I struggled with. I was initially drawn to Axe for 52, but look at this rack leave. I played Wax for 45 for only 7 fewer points, and this rack leave is a lot more than 7 better than CDNRW. ACDNR benefits from any vowel and must be worth... Well, I think it's going to be negative, but I don't think it's going to be negative very much. And it could even be positive. It's just slightly consonant heavy. So maybe that's around 0. Or maybe slightly positive. But CDNRW, I would say that's worth about minus 10 to 15. Anyway, very, very tricky to judge these particular 5-letter leave values. Either way, Wax is definitely a better play than Axe. As in, regardless of the exact valuations of these rack leaves, I am confident that ACDNR is 7 points better than the Axe rack leave. Now, opponent's rack, pretty horrible. Plays Vodao. And now I have Encradle for 86, and this really secured the win. Just 6 tiles in the bag, and I'm at 160 ahead. Opponent's rack, pretty non-bingo-y. But he junks the junk with Bunk. And we are now into the pre-end game. And I was in an agony of indecision here. 7 minutes on my clock, and I used up almost all of them trying to find the best move, and I don't think I did. So I play Fet for 29. But it's a really problematic play because there's a very high chance that opponent has got all 3 vowels. He probably kept at least 2 last turn and could have drawn the 3rd. So maybe something like Jet G2, which I think I had in mind at one point. Yeah, and then I was drawn lower down the board, which I then left alone with Fet. So yes, Jet, my original choice, I think would have been the play. Not just because it blocked opponent's bingo, but more importantly because it kept the extra vowel. So I play Fet. Opponent plays Spoliate, his only bingo, so Jet would have blocked that. And finally I go out with Jousts, and I could have played Jaws at C5, yeah, and Bunko for a few more points. So, what a game. Absolutely cracking fun. Always great to smash through the 500 point mark and to win with a margin of over 100 points. So, all good, brutal fun. Many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.